Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm here to talk to you about ants in the house and what you can do to deal with them. There are two basic type of ants that we find here in the New England area. They're the small sweet ant, which is generally about 1/8 of an inch or smaller. And then you've got the carpenter ant, which is generally about 1/4 of an inch or larger. They're two completely different types of ants and need to be dealt with in different ways. The sweet ant is often used or treated with baits that they take little pieces of and they bring it back to the nest, whether it's a dry bait or whether it's a liquid bait. They're carrying this back to the nest, and the whole colony will share that bait, and it will kill the colony off. That type of bait is particularly effective against those sweet ants. But carpenter ants, it's less effective. Carpenter ants generally are carnivorous, although they go through different food cycles throughout their life. Primarily they're carnivorous and they're eating other insects. They're looking for proteins. So those baits are not effective on carpenters. Generally the carpenter ants, you would use some type of topical application. There are products that you can spread around the yard. We have one here that is used. It's used as you spread it around the foundation. You can spread it out in the yard if you've got a lot of ant hills in the yard. We have another topical application that's called diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is essentially a sharp sand, and what happens is the insect crawls over it and it pokes them with this sharp sand, and the insect dries out. The diatomaceous earth is effective against ants, but it's also effective against other crawling insects. So it can be a very good product if you've got issues with spiders or centipedes, which is another big issue here in Arlington. Another treatment, and this is actually the one that I tend to use at my home, is a foundation treatment. A foundation treatment, what we're doing is we're applying a chemical to the foundation of the house to create a barrier so the insects don't want to pass over it. This again applies not only to ants, but applies to other crawling insects. The dreaded centipede, the spider, earwigs, other crawling insects don't like to cross over this barrier. So if we picture your foundation coming out of the ground and then the siding coming down your house, that interface where they meet, we're going to be spraying a 6-inch strip all the way around the house. And when we spray it, we're going to try and get up underneath the siding so it doesn't wash off in a rain. When we're spraying it around the house, if we come to a basement window, we're going to go around the basement window. When we come to a basement door, we're going to go down and around and back up the other side of the basement door. Entry doors, we're going to go down along the threshold and then back up again. Porches, you got a post coming down the porch to support it. You're going to spray around the base of that post. Again, so the ant doesn't want to crawl over it. What you want to do is create a barrier from the ground to the house so the ant or the other insects have to try and cross that barrier to get to your house. When you do first apply this, sometimes you actually see increased ant activity on the inside of the house. And the reason is the ant doesn't want to leave your house. So those ants, you manually kill them. That's really the best way to do it. These sprays, this particular spray can be used on the foundation, but it can also be used on the interior of your house. So if you have an area where you have a kitchen or something like that where you're seeing a lot of ant activity, you can go ahead and spray it. With carpenter ants, we're also going to be concerned with how many ants we see in the course of a day. If we're seeing 20 or more ants, you really want to think about whether or not you've got another issue that you need to deal with, and that could be some rotted wood where the ants are living. So you're going to inspect the house for rotted wood. You're going to keep your eyes open for what's called a frass pile, which is a sawdust pile. The ants don't eat the wood, they just tunnel through it, so they have to remove the sawdust. And they'll put that in a very specific pile. They'll also put the carcasses of other insects or the other dead ants within the nest in there. So keep your eyes open for that. When you're doing this, you're going to go around the house with a screwdriver and just kind of poke around a little bit to find that soft, punky wood. And then you're going to want to figure out how to deal with that wood. And that's really what treating a house is, what you need to treat a house, and different ways to handle the ant issue. And if you have other questions, feel free to come into the store and we'll help you out. Thank you.